we are back with another episode of the Julius Files, the water cooler for small business. I am your host, Jason Julius, and we talk about everything small business. Why? Because I'm trying to talk about what I know about. After 17 years, it's I would like to say that everything I come across is just one more of those. Admittedly, I can find plenty of things that I will be like, okay, that was a new one. Let's find the new lesson in it. And maybe I will digress and come back to that. Let's call this episode Respect, Rapport, and Reputation, because I think that those things in general have gotten me a little down the road pretty far. I will say that the inspiration for this in particular podcast was probably not necessarily a positive thing, but it did spark my thought process on elaborating these things. So I mean, to get to that story and then to move past it and try and get to the bigger message, let me expound upon that. So reputation. I mean, I'm very big about reputation, and I mean, in a lot of ways, it's like respect. I mean, it take a lifetime to build, and you can kill it in minutes. But there was an individual that was, like so many of us, one of my Facebook friends, and I've had plenty of people tell me how they've taken the time to go through their Facebook profiles and clean it up, and I'm like, I've got enough Facebook friends that I'm not even trying to actually clean it up. I mean, come one, come all, I will, I scroll through my feed from time to time, but a couple of years ago when I was very much, let's just say, in tune with not the news, but all of the propaganda that was going on in this country, I would also engage in different debates and conversations. Most of the time, though, I tried to keep my conversations with people that I didn't agree with, but they were people that were willing to have literal, like, thought-provoking intellectual conversations where I was trying to understand where they were actually coming from. But an in particular individual that just kept piping into every conversation was, well, let's just say that they were rude, not very thought-provoking, to the point that, like, I mean, just quite frankly, I mean, if they were talking that kind of smack in front of me, I would just want to hit them in the face. I mean, and I'm being real, because it was that kind of emotion. That's a big reason why I am not I don't spend a lot of time on social media, and I spend a very minimalistic time watching the news, because it's not news anymore. It's 98% propaganda, but it elicits those emotions in general, and I'm like, they're not a healthy emotion. I really do try and stay in a positive mindset. But I'm not going to deny that like, I will look at people, and there are a couple people that I'll be sitting there thinking, okay, like, I'm taking notice of you, and if we ever cross paths later in life, I will definitely be remembering that I took notice of you, not in a positive way, because obviously being in business over 17 years, I'm around a lot of people. I'm involved in different groups of people, and inevitably I do business with several people. So this individual just happened to decide that they were going to take a sales job, and like, you do you, I'm not mad about that, but it wasn't the point that they decided that with taking out the sales job that they were going to reach out to me. And when I realized who the individual was, I just simply ignored them, because I remember going back to the offensive, trash talking, hate speech, smack that they would put on social media. And I was like, I don't care who you're selling for, and I don't care what you're selling. I know your real personality, and I don't want anything to do with you. I didn't say that to them. I didn't need to say that to them. I just literally ignored them. So apparently, upon being ignored, then they decided that they wanted to try and go to people that were connected to me. And to my knowledge, most of those people were pretty clear to say, I'm not giving you his phone number. I will let him know that you're looking to connect with him. And the couple of people that came up to me, I told him, like, this is the story. This is the individual that I saw online. This is the shit that they were talking, and I don't care what they're selling. I don't want anything to do with them, because I feel like they showed their true colors, and I don't want nothing to do with them. Keep them away from me. Well, somebody decided that they were going to give this individual my phone number, to which then they text me a very long text message expressing that they wanted to do business with me. Again, I literally just ignored it because I don't want to engage in the negative, but I view them as a very negative individual. If there's enough brain cells up there in that brain that they literally think that they have intelligent thought, I do not. I adamantly disagree with what they would consider intelligent thought. I want nothing to do with them. And it was upon looking at all of that that I was like, there's a lesson here. There's something that I can actually talk about in a podcast, because I am a big believer in protecting my reputation. And to me, this individual has developed a reputation over time that I'm quite sure there are other entrepreneurs like myself that have gauged them as an individual, and the company that they are selling for will do less in revenue in general because they hired this individual to sell for them. That company might not have done their due diligence and might not be aware of the personal damage that they did to their personal reputation over what I saw was a couple-year period where I finally just had enough of it and blocked them. But that's not the point. The point is, in this day and age, in social media, your reputation follows you everywhere you go. So what reputation are you going to develop? Because it's going to follow you. And generally, any entrepreneur worth their salt will tell you, where you are today is a product of what you have done the last 2 to 3 years. So 2 to 3 years from now, what people think about you is going to be, by and large, what you are doing and saying and how you are actually acting today. I realized that a long time ago, and that's something that I have been uber conscious of all my life, that I wanted to protect my reputation, that I wanted to purposefully develop my reputation. And I'm saying it like that because it's not fake. It's not a persona. My reputation is built on principles that I need to look at myself in the mirror, to live with myself, to sleep with myself every night. And if you have a problem with me or with my principles, well, that's on you. That's what I need to do in order to be able to live with myself. And I think that they're pretty powerful principles in general. And I'm not telling anybody you got to be like me. I'm simply having the discussion as a small business person, because ultimately it's accountability. Own your shit. Whatever your reputation is, it is an indirect correlation with how you have been as an individual, your demeanor, your tonality, your language, how you engage with other people, whether you are holding yourself accountable. What type of individual are you? So you need to put deep thought into these things as an individual, because a lot of these principles that I try and talk about are principles for success and happiness in life in general. But when you decide that you're going to throw your name into the hat when it comes to entrepreneurship, when you decide that you're going to compete in this realm, well, your reputation, positive or negative, amplifies because you're just simply known by more people. Because in any business, you're developing a customer base. You just simply get to know more than the average people out there. Same thing goes for sales. That's, if you're in a sales position, that's not necessarily entrepreneurship, but I ain't got a bad thing to say about sales. It used to be that I did have a bad thing to say about sales, because it was always that cliche of don't want to be tied to a used car salesman. That I think used car salesmen have just gotten a bad name and a bad reputation over generations, but I digress. That's not my point. You should care about your reputation and understand that when you are gauging in public forum, that you don't know who's listening, but they're developing an opinion of you. You are, in fact, developing a reputation, and you should be very, it's not that I want to say calculated, because again, I'm not even suggesting a persona or anything fake. I'm just saying, think about what you want people to see out of you in general. And the bigger piece of my reputation is that I know that I employ a lot of people, so I do a lot of talking, and by that talking, it is a question of, I say something, I coach, I give insider perspective. The people that hear me in total then look at me to see, am I living what I'm saying? That's reputation. I would like to think that I do very much live what I say, right down to like admitting my wrongs and coming back and trying to right everything. So again, think about your reputation and what you want people to think about you in general. And I'm not trying to say, again, I am not suggesting that you should go out of your way to be a people pleaser, but I am suggesting if you get on social media and start talking a bunch of mad shit, that it's going to damage your reputation. And if you want to get into business or get into sales, that by you talking that mad shit, you're going to have plenty of people that are going to decide that they don't want to do business with you, or they don't want to be around you when it comes to friends, because it's not just about business in general. And I'm also not going to deny that while I guess I'm not a proponent of everybody trying to be polarizing, I am a proponent of don't try and be a people pleaser. That's I just think being a people pleaser in most ways is just generally, it's fake. It's untrustworthy. If you're going to take a stand on something, sooner or later, you're going to find your way into a polarizing subject. And I'm saying that because I have taken a stand on certain things in life. And I'm quite positive that there are some people that won't do business with me because of the stands that I've taken. And you know what? I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm just trying to elicit the thoughts of, like, everything that you do today in public is out there for a long ass time, and it is developing a reputation, and you should be thinking about what you actually want to be known for. Okay, so I mean, let's move on to the rapport. I feel like rapport has a lot to do with how you interact with other people. And maybe that is developing a certain amount of reputation. But when I think about the rapport that I have developed with other people, a lot of that has to do with goodwill. And due to developing that goodwill, I think that I have the ability of holding people accountable in an above average way. Maybe I'm not choosing the right words, due to the rapport that I have with them, because I have been very much I don't want smoke blown up my ass, because I will not blow it up yours. Do not ask me a question if you do not want the honest answer, because too many people go looking for sympathy or empathy in that manner, that they want you to blow smoke up their ass and tell them everything's roses and sunshine and everything's going to be okay. When I'm the one that'll look at you and be like, hey, like, it's like, own it. How can you repair it? How can you fix it? How can you learn from it? How can you grow from it? But own that, like, you screwed up. Most people don't want to hear that, but I do feel like the people that come to me, like, they know they're going to get the truth out of me, because we've been able to have good, open, honest conversations, and I've developed that rapport where I'm comfortable saying, hey, we have the rapport where I should be able to talk to you about accountability. I'm just a big believer in accountability. Part of that rapport, I would say, is that most everybody that I come in contact with, I'm trying to learn from. And I'm very pointed to tell them that, like, I want to learn. I have my life so bad at so many different points in my life, and I have made so many bad decisions that I've learned from them, I've grown from them, and I do not want to continually be judged for past indiscretions or mistakes that I've made. So do unto others as you would have done to you. I've developed a rapport with people that I don't judge. I mean, one, because, like, I don't think that it's the right thing to do. I think everybody has their own, I mean, I guess everybody can, whether you believe in a higher being or not. I personally believe in a higher being, and I know sooner or later I'm going to meet my maker, and that entity, that energy, I'm going to have to answer to them, and I'm going to be held accountable to them, but I ain't looking to be judged by anybody else that's walking the earth with me, so I don't judge. But when you talk about that, it's like, why don't I judge? Well, I am big on accountability, and I'm big on people holding themselves accountable. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you judge people, you have no chance of getting voluntary accountability. If you judge people, you will not earn their respect. If you judge people, you will not create progress. If you judge people, you will not build a culture or a team or a family. Like, nobody really has any respect for constant judgment, because that old saying, don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. Well, I don't necessarily, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that my house is built of glass, but I don't judge people because I don't want them judging me because they've never had to walk in my shoes. They've never had to live my life. But more to the point, it is about learning something new from everybody. Like, I've had many people that I do not agree with in general. That does not stop me from learning from them. That doesn't stop me from actually listening to them. Point that I'm trying to get at is that in life being about connectivity, well, to connect with somebody else, you have to cooperate with somebody else. You have to come to consensus with somebody else. You have to compromise with somebody else. You will not get any of that shit out of somebody if you are coming at it from a judgmental perspective. Like, just good luck with that. But if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to have open, honest conversation, that's where consensus can be had. That's where compromise can be had. That's where progress can be had. Because generally no two people think alike. I tell you what, I mean, there is definitely that herd mentality. Most critical thinkers, thought leaders, they do not agree on everything, but that's the beauty of those two minds coming together and literally trying to learn something from each other. Okay, so there's your rapport. Well, then let's get down to respect. Okay, so in a lot of ways, when I think about the rapport that I want with people, the reputation that I want in life, respect is very important to me. Well, how do you get respect? I would venture to be one to say, don't worry about getting respect. Concentrate on not losing respect. Like, don't do shitty things. Make good decisions. You ask anybody that has dealt with me, and they will tell you, I might not always agree with him, I might not always like him, but I always know where he's coming from because he's straight and direct with me. I have said many times, I have got scars in my back from little bitches that did not have the balls to come at me head on. I'm not going to backstab anybody. I won't even come at you sideways. I have told countless people, if I'm going to stab you, I'm going to stab you in the chest. You are going to see me coming. Why? Respect. Like, if I have a problem with somebody, like, it's a shitty thing to stab them in the back or talk shit about them behind their back. They say that keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I do not have a lot of enemies. I do not have a lot of people that I do not like. But I will tell you, those people know that I do not like them. Because it's the principles that I have to live by, because I want to earn that respect from people. So I'm not going to play any shady-ass political games. Like, if I don't like you, I have no problem telling you I don't like you. And it's, to me, again, it's about being honest. It's about living with myself. It's about being honest with myself. And then knowing that in a position of leadership, being a business owner, actually functioning in life, ultimately people are watching me. And again, I'm building my reputation, and I want a reputation of being respected for being a stand-up guy. Like, there are so many different ways that you can build respect, but I think that you build more respect by thinking about what not to do to tear down any respect that you've actually built. I have built a good reputation as I won't quit. I will do the right thing, even if it's painful for me. And many times I've had to reinforce that and show, no, that wasn't in this moment. This is who I am and how I am as an individual. In a lot of ways, that has built some respect. But here's my but, because this is where I say, where I want to say, but I want to be honest. No, it's being blunt, and it's showing that I don't have a problem talking about my mistakes. My hope is that if I'm willing to talk about my mistakes, that it might ring true with somebody else, and you won't make the same mistake. In my own business, I saw that for let's just say, an amount of time, I lost some respect. How did I lose some respect? I have a team of people. Well, there is I want to say there's an old saying. It's an old saying because any entrepreneur worth their salt, you'll hear it out of them. Hire slow and fire fast. I couldn't tell you how many times I've heard that statement, hire slow and fire fast, and I made the cardinal mistake of hiring fast and firing slow. It literally turned from pressure to stress. The stress was that I fired slow. I knew damn well that I actually should have gotten rid of some of these people, but the fact that I was quick to hire without vetting and slow to fire upon their non-performance, I lost some very good people inside of my own organization because they lost patience waiting for me to do what they inevitably knew that I was going to have to do. I'm sitting here being honest with you that when you hear an entrepreneur, and I'm not talking about a coach, I'm talking about when you hear an entrepreneur that has actually been there, done that, and they tell you, hire slow and fire fast, it's for good reason. And as many times as I've heard it, I had to still yet learn the lesson the hard way because I've lost a couple people in my organization that have been with me for many years. And when I look back and dissect how did this all happen, I come right back to that lesson of I hired a couple individuals too fast and I took way too long to fire them. And I want to, I guess, further go into that and say that, like, anybody that thinks that I'm an asshole, because I will say that I agree, like, you should fire fast. Like, in business, in commerce, I mean, it is great when it's able to fulfill something extra in your life, a personal passion. It's great when you've got a culture that you really align with. But, like, business was not created so that we could employ people so that you could follow your passions. Like, wake the fuck up. Business was created as commerce. That was created by somebody's ambition and their willingness to take on risk. They're trying to build something, and the byproduct is they're actually offering you a job. What I'm getting at is that hire slow and fire fast. The fire fast is you are hired to perform a job and produce results. An entrepreneur is taking on so much risk. If they fire slow, all they are doing is damage to their reputation, damage to their customer base, damage to their bank accounts. Like, I have felt that damage myself because I fired slow. I have literally learned a lesson that I have heard said to me easily 20 times, and for whatever dumbass reason, the pain of it, I just had to learn it the hard way. My customer base suffered, my bank account suffered, my mental health suffered because I fired slow, because I got too personally attached to individuals that were not performing. And when you create a business, it is an entity, it is a living, breathing monster that will suck the life out of you or can give you all the dreams and everything that you want in life. But the point is, when you hire people to perform. And if they do not perform, you fucking fire them and you get on and you go find somebody else. And I notice I'm saying to find somebody else because just because I learned the lesson does not mean that the act, like I'm scaling my business. The act of hiring people for new positions, I just made bad hires. I have full intention of going and learning this lesson and going out and looking to make a good hire, learning everything that I've learned from the actual process. But the point is, I made bad hires. I bet on the wrong people. I gave them too much cord. They did not perform, and my mental health suffered, my bank account suffered, and my customer base suffered, all because I gave these people too much rope to inevitably hang me. Hiring slow and firing fast, there is a reason that the entrepreneurs say it, and I'm telling you, I not only heard it, but I felt it many different ways because I broke the carnal rule and I lost respect from people inside of my inner circle because I allowed something to happen that they've listened to me. They've heard the teachings, the trainings, because when I receive information, I'm turning around and trying to convey that information to my own team so that collectively we can perform better. And they knew damn well that these individuals were going to inevitably be fired, and they're pissed at me that I waited too long to fire them. Yet another way that you can lose respect and rapport with people that you've spent years building. Okay, I'm going to wrap up this podcast because I don't have any way to actually just wrap this up and put a bow on it. What I'm trying to get at when I say that this is the water cooler for small business is that these are the things that I'm dealing with every day as I am working on, in, and around my own business and my own brands. I want to talk about them because I am quite sure that there are other people in business that are dealing with the same things. So I'm here to tell you, do what I did. Hire fast and fire slow. You will regret it. There is a reason that the successful entrepreneurs are saying it, and at the end of the day, it does nothing good for your reputation. And part of surviving that first year and part of surviving the first 5 and 10 years is developing a reputation that opens doors that people actually want to do business with you. So be thinking very much about the type of reputation you are developing, the type of rapport with other people you are developing. And I would encourage you to gauge just how important respect is on your priorities and your meters in life, because it is very big to me that I am respected. I don't necessarily have to be liked. I'm not saying that I don't want to be liked, but being respected will get you further down the road from being liked. And I'm not talking about being feared. I'm saying respected, because generally that respect comes from being willing to do the right thing, being I was about to say a man of your word, being a person of your word, being a decent individual, yet somebody that holds themselves accountable and has no problem calling you on your bullshit and holding you accountable. Okay, that's my podcast. If it resonates with you in any way, please share the show. If you know somebody that needs to hear it, again, please share the show. And if you got any comments or ratings you want to throw my way,